What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Khamzat Chimaev gives big update on next fight. Khamzat Chimaev seems to be on a mission to return to the octagon before the end of the year. Earlier this month, Chimaev called for a fight on the upcoming UFC Fight Night Paris card this summer, before then doubling down on his desire to compete at UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi just weeks later. While there seems to be little movement regarding a bout on the Paris card, Chimaev revealed this week that there's been progress in regards to a fight between he and Kamaru Usman, which is targeted for UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi in October. The fight, which would mark a 13-month layoff for Chimaev after his UFC 279 win over Kevin Holland, was initially shot down by Dana White, given that the pair wanted to compete at a catchweight. However, from the sounds of things, Usman will likely move up to middleweight to compete against Boers. He spoke to Swedish outlet Expressen about his return, saying, "It could be Usman 90%, but he's talking about 2 kilos. He doesn't want to gain 2 kilos. Dana White talks about 82 kilos. We'll see. There was no other match. It's just him." Back in early May, Usman spoke in an interview with ESPN's Brett Okamoto, where he maintained that he wants to fight Chimaev. As he explained, there simply aren't a ton of exciting fights out there in the division, and as a result, a fight with Chimaev seems to make sense. So far, no word yet from UFC President Dana White on the bout. However, from the sounds of things, it will take either Usman going up to middleweight or Chimaev going down to welterweight for this fight to come to fruition. If it does wind up being finalized, who do you think winds up getting the job done? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Alexander Volkanovski talks Yair Rodriguez fight. With the featherweight title unification fight between Kingpin Alexander Volkanovski and interim champion Yair Rodriguez rapidly approaching on July 8th, the fight community has continued to remain split in regards to how things play out between the two men. While Volkanovski has had a dominant run as 145-pound champion, there's a unique element of unpredictability that Yair Rodriguez brings into the octagon, and as a result, many, like Chael Sonnen, believe that the fight has all the makings of an upset. This week, Volkanovski spoke with Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier on the latest episode of DC and RC to discuss the upcoming fight and the challenge that Rodriguez presents.
Yeah, well, again, he's very good. He's good at all ranges as well. That's one thing that's really good about him. He can be very long, good on the outside, and then when you're trying to pressure him, like Emmett was trying to do, or even Frankie Edgar, what Frankie Edgar did a while back, you couldn't do that to Yair now.
Given the unique challenge Rodriguez presents, Volkanovski has brought in 11-time World Taekwondo champion Carl Van Roon to help him prepare. Van Roon, who Volkanovski said is several inches taller than Rodriguez, has been able to help him give different looks during training camp that will help him when he competes against El Pantera. Since joining the UFC, Rodriguez has lost just twice, once to Frankie Edgar in 2017 via doctor stoppage stemming from a brutal ground and pound, and once to Max Holloway back in 2021 by decision. With the stakes at an all-time high for both men, how do you see things playing out come July 8th? Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love, and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Sean O'Malley and his coach weigh in on bantamweight title picture. Although Corey Sandhagen is currently just one fight away from title contention in the eyes of many, title challenger Sugar Sean O'Malley may not give him a crack at the belt if he winds up defeating Umar Nurmagomedov at UFC Fight Night Nashville on August 5th. Ahead of O'Malley's title fight with Aljamain Sterling at the end of the summer in Boston at UFC 292, the brash contender spoke on a recent episode of his Timbo Sugar Show to discuss the title picture at 135 pounds, playing his cards close to the vest.
Corey didn't get in the title shot next. If Cheeto wins,
What if he beat Umar?
I would say the winner of the what's the guy here? The guy that just lost, Henry. Yeah, that
Henry
fight.
Henry versus Cheeto. That's
the winner of that.
Potentially, I'll pick and choose.
Yeah, Corey. That's going to be a sweet fight when it happens.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sweet fight.
In addition to Corey Sandhagen and the winner of the Cejudo versus Chito Vera fight, Merab Dvalishvili, who recently underwent hand surgery, also finds himself in title contention. Currently, Dvalishvili sits as the #1 contender on the UFC's official rankings, giving him a strong case for a title shot after his teammate Aljamain Sterling moves up. On top of Dvalishvili's spot in the bantamweight rankings, the machine also has some bad blood with Sugar Sean. After the Funkmaster's UFC 288 win over Henry Cejudo, O'Malley was welcomed to the octagon for a stare-down, which saw Merab Dvalishvili wind up with Sugar Sean's jacket, creating quite the problem for security as they tried to defuse the situation. While Dvalishvili is currently sidelined following hand surgery, the expectation is that he finds himself in the mix for a crack at the title once Sterling moves up in weight. Of course, before he calls his shot and names the next contender at 135 pounds, Sean O'Malley will have to get through the bantamweight champion. When the fight takes place, who do you think winds up getting the job done and come out at Boston with the title? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. UFC fight updates. Ahead of UFC 290 on July 8th, the UFC has signed promotional newcomer Edgar Chairez to compete against Tatsuro Taira on short notice. The bout will see Chairez look to build on a 2-fight win streak that recently saw him pick up a 4th-round submission win in late March. On the flip side, Taira will be looking to keep his unblemished record intact after rattling off 3 straight wins in the octagon. In addition, 3 fights have been added to upcoming cards, beginning with a flyweight clash at UFC Fight Night London on July 22nd, where Jafel Filho competes against Daniel Barres. Filho will be looking to bounce back from a loss in his UFC debut, while Barres will be looking to pick up a win in his UFC debut. Next up, we have a thrilling fight between Cub Swanson and Hakeem Dawodu on tap for August 12th. The fight will see Swanson look to bounce back from a loss to Jonathan Martinez in his bantamweight debut, while Dawodu looks to bounce back from a September loss to Julian Erosa. Last but certainly not least, we have a battle between flyweight contenders Aaron Blanchfield and Tyler Santos at UFC Fight Night Singapore. The bout will see Blanchfield look to build on a massive winning streak, while Santos looks to bounce back from a split decision loss to Valentina Shevchenko a year ago. How do you see these bouts playing out? Drop your predictions in the comment section down below. Israel Adesanya gets exposed. Ahead of his highly anticipated title eliminator fight with Robert Whittaker at UFC 290, Dricus du Plessis has exposed middleweight champion Israel Adesanya for stretching the truth a bit after being on the receiving end of a manhandling several years ago. Adesanya revealed previously that while he and du Plessis were training at Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket, Thailand, the pair trained together, with du Plessis getting the better of him in the grappling rounds, and he getting the better of the South African-born fighter in the striking rounds. According to du Plessis, however, the pair didn't ever actually spar with one another on the feet. During a recent interview with the Schmo, du Plessis exposed the lie in the Last Stylebender story, alleging,
he said, yeah, I beat him in the grappling exchanges. He's 100% correct in that. I did manhandle him and in the grappling and wrestling exchanges, but we did not do a single round of striking together, not one. And I mean, that was his way of saving himself, saying, no, but I beat him in the striking. We never did striking together, not one round.
While the trash talk has certainly added to the hype surrounding the potential bout between the two, du Plessis will first have to get through Robert Whittaker. Henry Cejudo breaks down potential Musk versus Zuckerberg fight. While UFC President Dana White will undoubtedly have to clear several hurdles before finalizing a fight between billionaires Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, the MMA community has continued to sound off on the bout. During a recent video for his YouTube channel, Triple C Henry Cejudo gave his thoughts on the potential fight, while offering to coach Zuckerberg for the bout.
If I was in Mark Zuckerberg's shoes, and if this is a real fight you guys really want to do, I don't know if it's going to be amateur with headgear or any of that stuff, but you have to make Elon Musk carry his weight. The more that you can prolong that fight, the more the probability you're actually going to have of actually winning.
It seems as though, on the flip side of things, Elon Musk has found himself a coach to help him prepare for the potential clash. After UFC Hall of Famer Georges St. Pierre volunteered his services for the bout, Musk took him up on the offer. In addition, he revealed that he even did a practice round for a fight with his friend Lex Friedman, who also recently got some training rounds in with Mark Zuckerberg. So far, no updates yet from Dana White on the fight. However, with Charles Oliveira and John Jones on Team Zuckerberg and Georges St. Pierre on Team Musk, it seems as though both men have their coaches lined up.